This is the story of Soma and the mountain stream. There once was a child named Soma who lived in a small village. In the center of Soma's village was a community square. In the center of the square was a huge water tank with a small spigot at the very bottom. Everyone called the tank the Great Vessel. Soma's task every week was to take a large bucket into the village and fill it from the Great Vessel. This was the custom of every household in the village. One day a week, Soma would join all the other children as they journeyed from their homes carrying their buckets. They would laugh and sing and enjoy each other's company all along the way. Once they arrived at the tank in the village square, the children took their places in orderly rows. Each child, one at a time, would go before the great vessel. They would place their bucket under the spout and watch as it filled with brown, murky water. When all the buckets were full, the village children would return, laughing and singing, and carrying the brown water home. Throughout the week, everyone in all the households would drink from the buckets of brown water. They didn't call it brown water, of course. They just called it water. One day, Soma asked one of the other children, "Where do you think the water comes from?" "What do you mean?" asked the other child. "It comes from the great vessel." "I know that," exclaimed Soma, "but where do you think the great vessel came from and the water we get from it?" "Don't ask stupid questions," the child sneered at Soma. "Just fill up your bucket and carry your water like the rest of us." On the way home that day, Soma didn't laugh or sing and walked all alone. A few days later, Soma forgot about the hateful comment made by the other child. The next week, everything was back to normal. The children went to the great vessel, filled up all their buckets, and carried the brown, murky water home for everyone to drink. One sunny day, while carrying their heavy buckets, Soma became enchanted by a beautiful butterfly. The butterfly flew from flower to flower, collecting sweet nectar. Its bright colors and the fragrance of all the flowers filled Soma's heart with happiness. As the butterfly flew away from the village path, Soma decided to follow it. The other children did not notice the butterfly and continued along the path. They also did not see Soma wandering away. On and on the butterfly flew, further and further away from the village. Happily following along, Soma didn't pay any attention to how far they were straying from familiar ground. After traveling a great distance and starting to feel tired, Soma noticed the new surroundings and thought, "I don't know where I am anymore. I think I'm lost." Soma looked all around but didn't recognize anything. All the rocks and trees looked different, and there were no familiar landmarks. Even the butterfly had now disappeared. Feeling very frightened and alone and not knowing which way to go, Soma sat down in a clearing and began to cry. Sometime later, Soma's crying was interrupted. There was movement in the woods, and the sound was getting closer. "Hello? Is someone there?" Soma nervously called out. "Hello," a voice called back. "I thought I heard someone crying." About that time, a figure appeared. Soma couldn't tell if it was a woman or a man, but a person in a hooded robe stepped out from behind a large tree. "My name is Or," said the kind stranger. "I've come to help, if help is what you need." "Oh, yes," exclaimed Soma. "I've wandered far from my village and fear I can't find my way back. Can you help me get home?" "I will guide you the best I can," Or said. "There is a stream not far from here. I will take you to it, and it will lead you home." A stream? asked Soma. What's that? You don't know what a stream is? asked Or. It's a channel of water that runs along the ground, down from the mountain. I'm sure it's where your village gets its water from. Don't be silly, laughed Soma. We don't get water from the ground. Water comes from the great vessel. The great vessel? Or questioned. What's that? The great vessel is a large tank that stands in the center of our village, Soma explained. It holds all the water that we drink. Or listened closely as Soma described how the village children worked every week to get water, how they filled and carried the heavy buckets for their families. That's very interesting, commented Or. Tell me, what is the water like that comes from the great vessel? Remarked Soma. I've never really described it before. It's brown. It's gritty. Most of the time it tastes okay, but sometimes it's bitter. You must be careful with it too, because if it spills, it can leave a stain. Have you ever wondered how the water gets inside the great vessel? asked Or. Sort of, replied Soma. One time I asked where the water and the great vessel came from, but I was made to feel ashamed. No way am I doing that again. I see, responded Or. The sun was moving lower in the sky, so Or suggested that they make their way over to the mountain stream. Eager to get home, Soma agreed. The two of them began walking together through the woods. As they walked, Soma started to hear something. It wasn't the birds or the wind in the trees. It was faint at first and grew louder as they walked along. What is that? asked Soma. What's what? Or replied. What's that interesting sound? I've never heard anything like it, Soma remarked. It's like music and rain all mixed together in a song. Oh, that, chuckled Or. That's the sound of the mountain stream. Within a short time, Or and Soma arrived at the edge of the stream, flowing through the middle of the woods. Standing there, Soma was mesmerized. I've never experienced anything so wonderful, expressed Soma. How have I lived my whole life and never known about this stream? You are young, said Or. There are many things you do not yet know. If you think the stream is wonderful to look at, wait until you taste it. What are you saying? Inquired Soma. You mean I can drink from the mountain stream? Of course you can, excited Or. This is the purest water you'll ever find anywhere. You mean this clear, sparkling stream is made of water? But it's not brown and gritty, puzzled Soma. The only water you've ever known is brown and bitter, explained Or, because it comes from a tank that has likely rusted over time. Water itself is always pure and clear, but contamination can make it murky. I must tell the people in my village, shouted Soma. I must save them from drinking contaminated water. Yes, replied Or, but you must also understand that not everyone will be interested in this truth. Why wouldn't they? Soma asked. Who wouldn't want to know the truth about the water they're drinking? Well, said Or, people often need to make their own journey and discover the truth for themselves. Would you have gone looking for a mountain stream if you knew you would become lost and frightened in the wilderness? No, I guess not, said Soma. I would not even have followed a beautiful butterfly. I would have kept to my chore and stayed with the others. It's good that you understand, said Or. Now let's get you headed back home. Follow the stream's direction and it will lead you back to your village, instructed Or. When the people ask where you've been, tell them. And always remember this. The ones who wish to follow you can be led to the mountain stream's bank. but the ones who have no interest, you must leave at the murky tank." "Okay," said Soma, "I will remember and do as you say. Thank you for all you've done for me." "Why don't you come with me?" Soma asked. "I'm sure everyone would love to meet you." "I must stay here," Or replied. "But whenever you and any of the others come to the mountain stream, I will be here and happy to greet you." The end. And those who have ears, let them hear.